For over a decade, Jay-Z has dodged one simple question. Is Ramir Satterthwaite really his son?
That's his son.
You think that's his son?
Yeah. First of all, Jay-Z offered him money. At first, he offered him bread, and everything, but his aunt didn't approve of it. She said, no, Jay-Z got a lien on her house, all type of shit that was going on. The lady put up paperwork and everything with his name on it and all that. I mean, but Young Boy's so thorough though. He just wanted dad. He not trying to get no money. He not trying to do none of that. But something happened to him, and I was like, yo, that sound kind of weird. He said he was coming out from work, going to work, and there was a gun in his car. When he opened the door, he seen the gun. He said he went to go call his man, yo, did you leave a gun in my car? His man's like, no. He said, why you on the phone talking to his man? The cops pull up and lock him up. He said, he's telling the cops, no, that's not my guns. So he went in the building he was in, and they seen that somebody pulled up and put the guns in his car.
Oh.
And pulled off. I said, bro, I don't know nobody in the hood that got guns to just waste like that to do that. I don't know what. He's like, yeah, so Jay-Z had a gag order against him, trying to get a gag order and trying to. If my thing is, if it's not my son, I'll just take a test. Get over it. Yeah.
Now, after years of silence, courtroom battles, and emotional pleas, a secret DNA test might have just blown the whole case wide open. And Matthew Knowles, he's not staying quiet anymore. Sources say he's furious, tired of watching Beyoncé get dragged into Jay-Z's unfinished business. Ramir has been speaking out for years, claiming he's not after money or fame, just the truth. But instead of answers, he's faced roadblocks, legal delays, and even threats.
Do you believe wholeheartedly that Jay's your father?
I really do. And if it's not, why you can't prove me wrong? It's not far as a proving me wrong thing. It's go to the courtroom and basically do what everybody else would have to do. It's not, you don't have to prove me wrong. I just want the truth. Honestly, I can take a no. I can take, if I'm embarrassed at the end of the day, I can take that. I really can. I've been through a lot, I've seen a lot. I could take me being embarrassed. This can't take nobody not saying nothing.
Now that the court has reportedly forced Jay-Z to finally take a paternity test, the results are sending shockwaves through the Carter empire. What comes next could shake up Jay-Z's legacy and the entire family behind him. But that wasn't the whole story, because the road Ramir took to get here, it was far from easy. Ramir Satterthwaite's story doesn't start in the courtroom. It starts with a simple truth he's been holding onto for most of his life. He says he's not looking for money, not trying to ruin anyone's name. He just wants to know who his father is. And for years, that one question has been met with silence, rejection, and even danger. According to Ramir, he grew up believing someone else was his dad until his mother confessed the truth. She told him that when she was just 16, she had a brief relationship with Jay-Z, who was 22 at the time. Soon after, Ramir was born. But instead of listing Jay-Z on the birth certificate, she put her high school sweetheart's name, trying to move on and protect her son. As he got older, Ramir started asking questions. A DNA test with the man listed as his father came back negative. That's when everything changed. Ramir says he knew he had to find out the truth, and that meant facing off with one of the most powerful names in music. But he wasn't ready for how deep things would go. In interviews, Ramir speaks with calm and clarity. He says he's proud of the life he's built. He works, takes care of his kids, drives a nice car. Fame and fortune, that's never been his goal. All he's asking for is a fair chance to prove what he believes is true. But his journey would soon take a dark turn, one that had nothing to do with music and everything to do with fear. Ramir's fight for the truth quickly turned from emotional to dangerous. One day, he was heading to work like any other morning, nothing out of the ordinary, but when he opened his car door, he spotted something that made his stomach drop. A gun lying on the floor inside. Confused and shaken, Ramir immediately called a friend, asking if they had accidentally left it behind. But before he could get answers, the cops pulled up, blocking him in and ready to act. Ramir says he tried to explain it wasn't his, that he had just found it and was trying to figure out what was going on. But things moved fast, and it looked like he was about to be arrested for something he didn't do. What saved him? Surveillance footage. A nearby camera caught someone pulling up, slipping the gun into his car, and driving off. It was a setup, and a close call that Ramir says still haunts him to this day. Many believe this wasn't just some random act. Ramir's supporters point to it as a clear warning, an intimidation move to scare him into silence. Around that same time, rumors swirled that Jay-Z's legal team was trying to file a gag order against him, to keep him from speaking publicly, to shut down the story before it could spread. But Ramir didn't back down, and that moment only made him more determined to get the truth. What happened next, though, would make his fight even harder. Ramir's legal battle has been anything but simple. He first filed a paternity suit back in 2010, hoping to finally get clarity, but almost immediately, he hit a wall. The Pennsylvania court threw out the case because of his age. He had already turned 18. From there, Ramir took the case to New Jersey, thinking it would give him a fair shot. But Jay-Z's legal team pushed back hard. They claimed Jay-Z had no ties to the state and shouldn't be forced to take a DNA test there. The judge agreed, and just like that, the case was dismissed again. But Ramir wasn't giving up. up. His legal team came back with tax documents showing that a Sean Carter had worked in New Jersey. It was a small thread, but one worth pulling. Still, Jay-Z's lawyers pushed back again, saying there was no proof that the Sean Carter in the paperwork was actually Jay-Z. That tiny detail was all it took for the case to fall apart once more. For most people, that would have been the end. But Ramir kept going. He stayed focused, kept his story straight, and continued pressing for answers. With each setback, he became more of a public figure, someone fighting not just for truth, but for justice in a system that kept blocking him.
Way beyond, I feel like, right now I feel like I got a bigger fight, this is part of my life, so I won't stop fighting for, the paternity or anything else, whatever I put my mind to, I fully go. I was hoping that it wasn't true, but if it is, honestly, you cannot do things like that. You will get what you deserve. I don't know what them guys was thinking. I don't know what he was thinking. If it's true, only he can respond and get himself out of this.
And finally, after years of legal twists and closed doors, the tide started to turn, because this time, the courts weren't so quick to side with the superstar, and what they decided would shift everything. At the heart of Ramir's claim is a story that's hard to ignore. He says his mother met Jay-Z when she was just 16 years old. At the time, Jay-Z was already 22, a grown man with a rising name in music. Their relationship was short, but serious enough that Ramir's mother believed Jay-Z could be the father of her child. When Ramir was born in 1993, she chose not to involve Jay-Z and instead listed her high school boyfriend, Robert Graves, on the birth certificate. But as Ramir grew older, things didn't add up. His mother eventually confessed that Jay-Z was the man she believed to be his real father. Hoping to confirm that, Ramir took a DNA test with Robert Graves, and the results came back negative. That was the final push Ramir needed to seek the truth from Jay-Z himself. But even with this evidence, Jay-Z refused to cooperate. He didn't agree to a test. He didn't respond directly. And every time Ramir tried to move through the courts, Jay-Z's team found a new reason to stop it. They questioned documents, denied connections, and used technical loopholes to avoid responsibility. Ramir stayed patient, but the pain was clear.
Try to contact me in any type of way, and that's all I'm asking is, because I honestly really want the case to be over with. I've been going through, just like I said, a lot, and as I said, I'm not chasing nobody. I'm not trying to do this to make somebody seem like a bad person, a bad father. I'm not trying to make nobody seem like a bad person or nothing. I'm just really coming out here for the truth. I don't want no money or anything. I wasn't looking for none of that. I just want to know the truth. And if I can't go to the courts and get the truth, what is it really? Why you? What is it? I just really want it over. It's something that's really affecting my life, and I just want it over with.
He wasn't demanding money. He wasn't trying to destroy reputations. He just wanted to know who he was and who he came from. And as the years dragged on, the public started asking the same question. Why won't Jay-Z just take the test and end this once and for all? The answer might be deeper than anyone thought, and it was about to come to light. The scariest moment in Ramir's journey wasn't in a courtroom, it was on the street. That day he found a gun in his car changed everything. It wasn't just a scare, it felt like a message. And when police nearly arrested him, it was clear someone wanted him silenced. If the surveillance footage hadn't shown a stranger planting the weapon, Ramir could have ended up behind bars for something he had nothing to do with. This moment shook him, but it didn't break him. It made his fight feel even more serious, like he wasn't just battling for truth, but for safety. People began to wonder who would go that far just to stop him from speaking out. And then came whispers of a gag order. Rumors swirled that Jay-Z's team was trying to block Ramir from talking about the case publicly, but instead of giving up, Ramir kept speaking louder than ever. He refused to be scared off, and that determination would soon lead to the biggest breakthrough in the case so far.
Fair due process, they just been, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, so I can't get in there and actually know fully what's going on. I'm only there to, say what I believe in, and, you guys can put me on a lie detector test, anything else you want me to do. I always been here to stand on the truth. I told them if it was wrong, I'm a man, I can apologize, but for me to go in there and ask for fair due process and not get it, and they just throw you all around like you're a rag doll, I just find that to be crazy, and I really think we need to change that. It's craziness. I'm not asking for nothing. I always been on here. I wasn't never asking for nothing. People can say what they want. As I said, I work, I'm doing great. I gotta take care of my kids. I'm driving a nice car, I'm getting nice income. So it's not like I never been here asking for nothing or trying to get 15 minutes of fame. So people just gotta realize that these court systems and these people that's out here and controlling these people that's in the court systems, we need to change it, because if we can't go and get fair due process, what are we all paying taxes and all this?
Through it all, Ramir has stayed clear about one thing. He doesn't want Jay-Z's money. In fact, he said it over and over again. He's not chasing fame, clout, or a paycheck. He's built his own life, supports his kids, works hard, and drives a nice car. His fight isn't about a come-up. It's about closure. Ramir just wants peace. He wants to stop wondering where he came from. And more than anything, he wants the truth, not just for himself, but for his own children. He's even said he'd be okay with being wrong. If the DNA test proves Jay-Z isn't his father, he'd walk away with his head high. But for him, silence is worse than rejection. Being ignored, pushed around, and dismissed has done more harm than a no ever could. That's why he kept going, court after court, year after year. Because without answers, the wound never healed. Finally, it looked like the law was ready to listen. After more than a decade of delays and denials, the court finally stepped in. And this time, things were different. The New Jersey Supreme Court ordered Jay-Z to take a DNA test, forcing the truth to come one way or another. For Ramir, it was the breakthrough he had waited half his life for. The internet exploded with reactions. Some were shocked it had gone this far. Others were furious Jay-Z let it drag out instead of clearing it up years ago. And many were finally starting to believe Ramir might have been telling the truth all along. But it wasn't just the public watching. Behind the scenes, Matthew Knowles was reportedly livid. Sources say he's tired of Jay-Z's past creeping back into the spotlight and putting Beyoncé in the middle of messy drama she didn't ask for. The DNA test result wasn't just a legal milestone, it cracked open a family secret that could rewrite everything. And what came next would send even bigger shockwaves through the Carter legacy. With the DNA test now on the table, the ripple effect hit the Carter family hard. This wasn't just about Jay-Z anymore. This was about the legacy he built with Beyoncé. And for Matthew Knowles, that legacy was now under threat. Reports say he's deeply frustrated, not just by the scandal, but by how it keeps pulling Beyoncé into a mess she had no part in. From cheating rumors to past ties with controversial figures like Diddy, Jay-Z's name keeps surfacing in drama that risks overshadowing everything the Carters have worked for. If the DNA test confirms Ramir's story, and especially if it links back to a time when his mother was underage, it could open a whole new chapter of backlash. This isn't just bad press. It's the kind of scandal that could damage reputations, hurt careers, and turn public admiration into outrage. And with Ramir's case now going public, that door might already be wide open. But Jay-Z wasn't done yet, because his response shocked everyone. Jay-Z finally broke his silence, and his response was anything but apologetic. He called Ramir's lawsuit part of a decades-long harassment campaign, claiming it had already been dismissed by multiple courts. His legal team doubled down, saying all accusations of intimidation were flat-out false, and that they had even tried to contact Ramir's guardian to settle things peacefully. But the damage might already be done. Public opinion is shifting, and many now see Ramir as a man who simply wanted answers, and was ignored for years. The truth? It may still be tangled in legal documents, court dates, and headlines. But one thing is clear, Ramir's voice is being heard louder than ever before. Will the DNA test confirm Jay-Z as the father? Or will this be one more chapter in a never-ending fight for truth? Let us know what you think in the comments. And if you believe the Carter Empire can survive this storm, because one thing's for sure, this story is far from over.